Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story about a grocery cart, a clueless Karen, and a classic case of misplaced entitlement. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Karen blames us for a stray shopping cart. Guys, I never thought I'd have a story so soon after joining this sub. I, 36-year-old female, and Hubs, 36-year-old male, live in a suburban-ish neighborhood surrounded by some entitled people. Mostly because so few people our age own homes. Honestly, about 90% of them haven't been bad and keep to themselves for the most part. It's a quiet street. Randomly, a grocery store shopping cart showed up on the sidewalk of our neighbor's house. It was very odd, but school's out, so maybe it was just a prank from a few streets over. We figured whoever lifted it would either come back for it or it would get picked up on trash day. While it was strange, I'm a firm believer in minding your own business. Well, my husband was walking the dogs on the opposite side of the road when out storms entitled Karen. We've never met this woman. She's a tenant, not the owner, who's a nice older man. She parks on an adjacent street since it's a corner house and must enter that way too. We've never crossed paths. She goes up to my husband and demands to know why there's a shopping cart there. Now, Reddit, my husband's not a confrontational man, so he kind of just stared at her for a second before saying, "How should I know?" She points over at our house and demands to know if he lives there. He says yes, and she says, "Well, Mr. X, landlord's name, wouldn't do this, so you have to take it back." My husband was stunned. This woman starts telling him that since her landlord clearly didn't park a shopping cart there, we must have, and we need to return it to the store because it might get washed into the road when it rains and roll down the street and hit her car. And that the other tenant couldn't back his car out of the driveway, and it's our responsibility to do the right thing. It was about 30 feet away from the driveway. Now, my husband told her if she wants to play Nancy Drew, she's welcome to, but he has better things to do. And before he walked off, some random truck pulled up, threw it in their truck bed, and left without a word. The look on her stupid red face was priceless. I'll never understand the entitlement of Karens. Not gonna lie, if someone left a shopping trolley outside my house, I'd take it into the backyard ASAP. Those things are workhorses and always come in handy. Those in milk crates? Your supermarket might also have a number you can call to report them as turning up outside your house. And our second story. Taxi troubles, or please don't mess with my pay. I used to drive a taxi cab. There are rigid and somewhat complex rules regarding driving time for occupational drivers. We logged hours in a notebook, for some reason nicknamed the Storybook. Our driving time with a particular car was also logged electronically within that cab. The funny thing was that it was the cab, not the driver, who had a schedule. If you changed cab during your workday, you also switched to that car's schedule. Still, the driver had a limited amount of hours he was allowed to drive each day, week, fortnight. Keeping track of this could be a bit of a challenge if you jumped between cabs. However, going over the limit was very bad as it could bring enormous fines and suspensions. We'd regularly get called out for early morning or late night airport or train station transfers outside of our shifts. These would typically take 45 minutes unless we had to do more than one transfer. We were paid 2 hours wages for this, the difference being our call-out bonus. As this was mostly in time and a half hours, it was more like 3 hours pay for 3/4 hours work. On weekends and holidays, it was even more. Our dispatchers, affectionately nicknamed Switch Witches, were the ones who were supposed to keep tabs on how many cars were needed and when which car could punch out and go home. One of the dispatchers would constantly give us extras, extra fares, or keep us around for school transfers in the morning while sending some of the guys on ordinary shifts home early. When I noticed the pattern, I asked her why. "What does it matter? You're paid for 2 hours, and more fares means you're making more money." "No, dear, it means my boss is making more money without having to give me compensation for it. You are peeing away my call-out bonus." Stupid. I suggested solving the issue by letting us drivers tack on 75 minutes to whatever time we were out, but it was shot down because change equals bad. Instead, the dispatcher was told to keep better check on who was on shift and who was an extra, and who among the extras was an employee and who was an owner-operator, and send the employee extras home as soon as possible. Things didn't improve much after the misunderstanding was addressed because she also sucked at her job. Here's where I decided to engage in malicious compliance. On the call-outs, I stopped asking how much longer she needed me. I just remained logged on, accepting fares, letting the hours tick up. A few times she noticed and sent me home. Other times I kept on driving into my afternoon shift. Then came Friday night, the first one after payday, the biggest taxi night of the month. We were going to make so much money. 8:30 in the evening, as things are slowly starting to get wild, I radio dispatch. Dispatch, I'm going to log off and bring in the cab. Why? Are you having trouble? No, I'm just out of hours. What? No. You're scheduled until 5 a.m. There's a crap load of fares waiting. Sorry, someone else is going to have to take them. I logged out, garaged the cab, and went home. I had a nice, relaxing evening, and my boss lost a crap ton of money. Afterwards, he wanted to know what happened. I explained that this was the result of the problem I'd been addressing. Switch, keeping me on the clock, using up my driving hours and bonus, but I didn't mention that this time, resulting in me running out of hours. Nothing I can do since it would mean breaking the law. The fines would be substantially bigger than the profit he'd lost. The next time I had a log-out fare, I was told I could log out and go home before I'd even dropped off the customer. So the dispatcher was basically handing free money to the company while screwing over the drivers? Yeah, that backfired spectacularly. Bet they started paying attention real fast after that Friday night disaster. Classic case of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And our last story. The entitled guests who thought they owned the hotel. A couple of years ago, I was the head hotel manager for a small hotel in a Missouri tourist town. As part of my job, I lived in a small one-bedroom apartment attached to the back of the hotel and was on call after hours. The hotel owner had a deal with local charities. If a family was displaced from their homes, they could stay at the hotel for a month at half price to help them get back on their feet. One day, a couple and their 2 kids checked in under this program. At first, they seemed like any other guests. The only time I saw them was when their kids went swimming or when they picked up their mail. But a week before their checkout date, my boss informed me that the pool needed to be drained and cleaned, so it would be closed for the next 2 weeks. I made sure to post signs at the front desk and the pool entrance well in advance. The morning of their checkout date, the woman, let's call her Lisa, came to the front desk. Lisa, we found a house, but it won't be ready for another month. How much would it be to stay here for another month? Me, it would be $600. Lisa, fine, I guess we can do that. I just need to wait for some friends to lend me some money. Me, that's fine, just a reminder, checkout's at 11 a.m. and the pool will be closed for 2 weeks. Lisa, whatever. By 11:30, they still hadn't left. My housekeeper radioed me to say they were still in the room. I knocked on their door, and Lisa answered, apologizing and saying they were short by $200, but we'd get the money soon. I gave them some more time. By 3 p.m., Lisa finally came down with the full payment. As I processed the extension, I reminded her again that the pool would be closed. Lisa, wait, what? You're closing the pool? You never told us that. Me, it's been posted on the pool gate and at the front desk for 2 weeks. She didn't seem happy, but said she needed to talk to her husband, let's call him Mark, before committing. After a brief phone call, she came back. Lisa, okay, we'll take the room. Me, are you sure? Once I finalize this, you'll have 30 minutes to change your mind. After that, no refunds. Lisa, yes, we're sure. That evening, I was in my apartment when my coworker, CW, radioed me in distress, saying she needed help in the lobby. The panic in her voice told me something was seriously wrong. When I arrived, Mark was towering over her, screaming, while Lisa stood beside him, occasionally egging him on. Their 2 kids stood off to the side, looking absolutely terrified. Me, what's going on here? Mark turned to me, furious. Mark, this bee told me my kids can't swim in the pool. Me, first off, start yelling and we can discuss this like adults. Mark, no, I paid $600 to stay here and my kids deserve to use that damn pool. Me, sir, the pool is closed for maintenance. I'm going to have to ask you to calm down. Lisa, we should be staying here for free since the pool is closed. Me, ma'am, I told you the pool was closed before you paid, and it was on your receipt that there were no refunds after 30 minutes. Lisa, that's your word against mine. Me, actually, I have security footage of our conversation. Mark, And does the owner know that you dress like a whore in front of guests? Referring to my tank top and pajama pants since I'd been off duty. Me. Sir, I need you to leave now before I call the police. Lisa grabbed her kids and stormed off toward the hotel atrium, Mark trailing behind. At this point, I told CW to call 911 while I followed them to make sure they weren't trying to break into the pool. Sure enough, when I arrived at the pool gate, Mark was trying to force it open. Me. Hey, leave the gate alone. Before I could react, Lisa blindsided me, shoving me into a table. I crashed down hard as she rushed to help Mark pry the gate open. Once they forced it open, they dragged their terrified kids inside. Mark even picked up his daughter and threw her into the pool when she hesitated. By now, several hotel guests had opened their doors to see what was happening. I staggered back inside just in time to see police cars pulling up. The officers quickly located Lisa and Mark, who came out of the pool area cursing and screaming about how they deserved a refund and how I never told them about the pool closure. Once I showed the police the security footage, it was game over. They were arrested for disorderly conduct, destruction of private property, assault for shoving me, and child endangerment for throwing their kid into the pool. To top it off, Mark had outstanding warrants in the neighboring county for domestic assault. Their two kids were picked up by their grandmother, who was incredibly apologetic. She explained that Lisa had been a sweet girl before she met Mark. She thanked CW and me for helping her grandkids. The room was cleared out that night, and that was the last we ever saw of them. Holy smokes. All because of a pool being closed? Seems as the parents wanted to be in the pool more than the kids. They were already staying at half price, and then they thought they deserved free lodging because of a basic maintenance closure? That's not how hotels work, Karen. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.